A flash of anger that makes you say something you can never take back. A wave of anxiety that paralyzes you right before a big opportunity. A lingering sadness that drains the color from a day that should have been joyful. How many times have you felt like a stranger in your own body? Hijacked by a force that feels both intimately yours and terrifyingly alien. You have a logical mind, you have goals, ambitions, and a clear idea of the person you want to be. Yet, in an instant, that person can be overthrown by a powerful feeling that takes the throne and dictates your actions, your words, and your reality. You've read the tea, you've heard the advice. Think positive, just calm down. Breathe it in. You try to fight the anger with calming thoughts. You try to reason with your anxiety. You try to distract yourself from the sadness. Sometimes it works. For a moment. But it's exhausting. It's like playing a game of whack-a-mole with your own soul. As soon as you push one feeling down, another one pops up somewhere else. What if you've been playing the wrong game entirely? What if I told you that all these feelings, the anger, the fear, the sadness, the jealousy, are not separate enemies to be fought one by one? What if they are all just symptoms of a single, deeper issue? What if, instead of fighting an endless army of emotions, you could master one single, unseen thing that would make you the ruler of them all? This is the promise of our journey today. We're not here to give you a list of 10 new coping mechanisms. We are here to hand you one master key, one fundamental principle that, once truly understood and mastered, will ensure that no feeling can ever truly control you again. This is the secret that separates the masters from the masses. It's the one thing they understand that most people will go their entire lives without ever seeing. Are you ready to see it? Imagine you are standing before a colossal, ancient stone gate. It's the gate to your prosperity, your peace, your potential. It's sealed shut. Most people spend their lives pushing against the gate with all their might. They use the force of willpower, the force of positive thinking, the force of suppression. They push and they sweat and they exhaust themselves. And the gate barely moves an inch. They conclude the gate is simply too heavy, that they are too weak, or that they are not destined to pass through. But the master doesn't push the gate. The master walks along the wall, searching. They are looking for something. They are looking for the lever. A single, hidden mechanism that, with one simple, almost effortless motion, can swing the entire massive gate open. Your emotions are that gate. Your attempts to fight or control them are the futile pushing. The lever is this you must master. Most self-help teaches you to deal with the emotion itself. It teaches you first-order change. You feel angry, so you try to change the anger into calm. You feel anxious, so you try to change the anxiety into confidence. You are constantly reacting to the problem, trying to fix it within the same system that created it. But there is another kind of change. The brilliant thinkers at the Mental Research Institute in Palo Alto, including a man named Paul Watzlawick, who co-authored the groundbreaking book Change Principles of Problem Formation and Problem Resolution in 1974, called it second-order change. This isn't about trying to win the game, it's about changing the rules of the game itself. Let me explain this simply. Imagine you are having a nightmare. In the nightmare, a monster is chasing you. First-order change is trying to run faster, find a better weapon, or a better hiding spot inside the dream. You are playing by the nightmare's rules. Second-order change is waking up. When you wake up, the monster, the chase, the fear, it all vanishes instantly. Not because you fought the monster and won, but because you shifted your state to a level where the monster no longer has any power. Mastering this is the equivalent of learning how to wake yourself up from the nightmare of emotional reactivity. It is the ultimate second-order change. It is the lever that moves the gate. It is the one action that makes all the other fighting unnecessary. You stop focusing on the individual waves of anger or fear crashing against you. Instead, you learn to control the rudder of the ship itself. The waves will still come, they are a part of the ocean of life, but they will no longer determine your direction. You will. This is not a metaphor. This is a learnable skill. There is a very real place within your own consciousness that is the control room for your entire emotional experience. It has been there all along, overlooked, unused. It is the source of all your power and the single greatest secret to a life of freedom. The question that propelled you to click on this video was, what is this? We have spent our time building the frame, showing you the power of the lever. I will now place your hand upon it. I would ask you to give this next sentence your complete, undivided attention, because it is the most important sentence you will hear today. And perhaps the single most powerful thing you will ever master is not an emotion. It is not a thought. It is not a behavior. It is the silent, empty, almost imperceptible moment between them. This is the space. The space. The space between the event and the story you tell yourself about the event. The space between the trigger and the emotional explosion. The space between what the world does to you and what you choose to do about it. This tiny, fractional moment of pause is the birthplace of all freedom. It is the control room of your mind. It is the kingdom of choice where you, and only you, are sovereign. Most people live their entire lives without ever knowing this space exists. Their life is a chain reaction. Stimulus leads directly to response. The insulting email is opened, and the angry reply is typed. The bad news is heard, and a wave of despair hits. The criticism is voiced, and the feeling of shame floods in. It's an automatic circuit, a wire connecting the world directly to your emotional nervous system. But for the masters, there is no direct wire. There is a space, a sacred pause. And in that pause, everything is possible. This is not a New Age concept. This is a truth forged in the deepest fires of human suffering. Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist we have spoken of before, was the one who gave this space its most powerful definition. As a prisoner in the Nazi concentration camps of Auschwitz and Dachau, Frankl was subjected to conditions designed to strip a human being of everything: their family, their possessions, their health, their identity, their very will to live. The stimulus he endured daily was pain, hunger, humiliation, and the constant presence of death. By all logic, the response should have been utter despair and hatred. And for many, it was. But Frankl discovered something inside himself. He discovered the final human freedom. In his legendary book, Man's Search for Meaning, he wrote the immortal words, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Read those words again. This was not a theory. This was his survival strategy. The Nazi guards could control his environment. They could torture his body, but they could not control that tiny, sacred space within his mind. In that space, he chose to find meaning in his suffering. He chose to imagine lecturing about the psychology of the concentration camp after the war. He chose to hold on to the image of his wife. He chose to be worthy of his suffering. He discovered that the stimulus and the response are two separate events, and that the space between them is where our power resides. So let's make this real for you. The stimulus. Your boss criticizes your work in front of the team. The automatic reaction, with no space, is a hot flush of shame. The defensive retort, a feeling of resentment that ruins your day. Now, let's insert the space. The stimulus. Your boss criticizes your work. In that fraction of a second before the emotional flood, you access the space. Inside this space, you have options. You can observe the initial flash of heat without being consumed by it. You can ask yourself, is this criticism valid? Is there something I can learn? Is my boss just having a bad day? Is my sense of self-worth really dependent on this single comment? From this place of choice, your response is no longer a blind reaction. It is a conscious action. You might respond with a calm question, or a simple, "I'll look into it," or even just a quiet moment of breathing. You leave the meeting with your power intact. The event was the same. The difference was the space. So why is this space so elusive? If it's so powerful, why don't we all use it? Because for most of us, that space has been collapsed by years of conditioning, and it is sealed shut by our own biology. That guard dog of the brain, the amygdala, is designed for speed. It perceives a threat, a social threat, an emotional threat, and its job is to close the space instantly, to propel you into a fight or flight reaction before you even have time to think. It hijacks your rational mind to save you from a tiger that is, in reality, just an opinion or an unexpected bill. Your life, up until now, may have been a series of these unconscious hijacks, leaving you to clean up the emotional wreckage afterward, wondering why you keep reacting the same way. But now you know the secret. You know what this is. You know where the liver is hidden. It's not in the world outside, it's in the space inside. It is the pause. You have seen it. Your hand is now on the liver. The next, most crucial step is to learn how to pull it. The answer lies in building 3 foundational pillars. These are not abstract ideas. They are active practices. Together, they form the complete system for taking your hand, placing it on the liver, and learning to pull it with skill and grace. The first pillar is awareness. This is about seeing the space. You cannot enter a room if you don't know where the door is. In the heat of the moment, when the guard dog hijacks your mind, the space can seem to vanish. The first and most fundamental skill, therefore, is to learn to see. This is the practice of radical noticing. It is the art of becoming a silent, non-judgmental observer of your own inner world. When you feel a strong emotion begin to rise, your first job is not to stop it or fight it. Your first job is simply to notice it. You will learn to say to yourself, "Oh, there is anger. Hello, impatience. I see you." The moment you shift from being the emotion to observing the emotion, you fundamentally alter your brain activity. Jon Kabat-Zinn, founder of the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, built his entire system on this principle. You are no longer the storm, you are the sky that holds the storm. You are separating your identity from the transient experience. This act of separation is the creation of the space. The second pillar is intention. This is about choosing within this. Once you have opened the door, even for a split second, you must have a plan, or you will revert to your old reaction. You must furnish this space with intention. Decide, ahead of time, how you wish to respond by choosing a governing value. Is it grace, clarity, patience, strength? Then, when the trigger happens and you open the space, you only need to ask one question. What would grace do now? This practice is a powerful application of implementation intentions, a concept from psychologist Peter Gollwitzer. His research shows that a specific if-then plan dramatically increases success. If I feel provoked, then I will respond from a place of clarity. You are no longer an empty-handed victim. You are a prepared strategist. The third and final pillar is expansion. This is about widening the space. At first, your space might be a microsecond long. The goal is to turn that tiny crack of light into a vast, open field. This is achieved through consistent practice. The emergency protocol is the 3-second decree, a simple sequence of acknowledge, anchor, and breathe that you use in the heat of the moment. The daily workout is a simple, formal practice of mindfulness meditation. Just 5 minutes a day. This is not just relaxation. You are physically renovating your brain. Neuroscientist Dr. Sarah Lazar at Harvard Medical School showed that this practice can increase gray matter in your prefrontal cortex, the wise owl's library, and decrease gray matter in the amygdala, the guard dog's house. You are making the part of your brain for calm and choice stronger, and the part for reactivity weaker. These 3 pillars, awareness to see the space, intention to choose within the space, and expansion to grow the space, are the complete architecture of emotional freedom. They are the how behind the mastery of. They are your path from being a puppet of circumstance to becoming the sovereign of your soul. We have journeyed far. We began by acknowledging the exhausting battle of pushing against the gate of our own emotions. We unveiled the great secret, the profound, powerful space between stimulus and response. And we have just laid down the practical framework for mastering it. You now have the map and the tool, but what is the point of a key if you have no vision of the kingdom it unlocks? This is the ultimate transformation. With consistent practice, You stop seeing the space as an emergency tool. It becomes your natural state of being. You no longer visit the space, you live there. And from this new home, your entire relationship with your feelings is reborn. They are no longer hijackers or enemies. When viewed from the calm ground of the space, they transform into wise counselors. Messengers delivering vital intelligence. Anger, once a destructive fire, is now a clean signal that a boundary has been crossed. It provides the focused energy to address the situation with strength, not chaos. Anxiety, once a paralyzing dread, is now an advisor, tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Pay attention here." This requires more preparation. It prompts you into mindful action. Sadness, once a bottomless pit, is now a compassionate teacher, a profound signal of what you truly love and value, allowing for healing and compassion. When you live from the space, you do not become emotionless. You become more fully human than ever before. You feel everything, but you are not tossed around by everything. You are the deep, calm ocean, and the feelings are the weather passing across your surface. Your essential nature remains undisturbed. This is a life of authentic power, where decisions are born from clarity, and relationships are built on connection, not reaction. Your inner peace becomes an unshakable fortress you have built within your own soul. Our journey began with a simple, powerful promise. Master this suck, and no feeling will control you again. This was never a complex technique. It was a space that has been inside of you from the moment you were born, a power you already possessed, waiting to be rediscovered. Your freedom was never something to be earned. It was only something to be realized. The work is not to create the space, but to stop collapsing it. It is, and always has been, yours. And so, we end not with a command, but with a quiet truth. The key to the kingdom has been placed in your hand. The door is open. The silence is now yours to command. The only question that remains is the one you must now ask yourself. What is the first thing you will build in this newfound peace?